before, so I can get to the, all right, so Cara's here for our immune boosting and gut enhancing subject of
Yeah.
Ask the Nutritionist.
Yep.
And Cara has a presentation, some things she'd like to share with us, because right now it is critical to remember that our immune system, it is the thing that's fighting to keep us alive every single day, and we deserve to give it the proper respect and attention. And sometimes we forget. One of the things I love about these presentations with Cara is a lot of times she gives me those aha moments on the things that I knew, but I needed to know again, and I needed to know it now. So I'm going to turn this over to Cara, and since it's just the three of us, I'm not going to mute it. You can interject if you want, and then if you have specific questions at the end, we'll have a Q&A, and we're going to try to end this up, 5 to 10 minutes before the hour. We're definitely not going to go definitely not going to go past the hour. Past 4:20 would be our hard stop. So Cara, can you share your screen with us?
So we are going to talk about how to support our immune system with food, and just a little bit of background on the immune system. It has three main functions, and that is to protect against pathogens, any viruses, any outside things. It cleans up and removes dead or damaged cells, and it recognizes and removes abnormal cells. So our immune system does more than just like protect us against the common cold. It also fights to keep our bodies healthy and safe from more serious diseases like cancer, obviously. And there are several ways to, or several parts of the immune system. And since you can't see the slide, I'll just go through this really quickly. But our lymphatic system, our respiratory system, our skin, and our gut are all parts of the immune system. The gut is actually where about 75% of our immune system lives. So it's very important. I did want to make a point that the lymphatic system exists to transport the white blood cells to other parts of the body where they might be needed. And that lymphatic fluid only flows upwards. So that's one of the reasons why it's so important to keep exercising and keep moving, because just exercise and movement alone does help strengthen your immune system. And some ways to keep your immune system strong, you want to make sure you get enough sleep, try to keep stress down, avoid tobacco, limit alcohol, limit sugar, exercise, which you already said, try to stay away from pesticides as much as you can, avoid processed foods, and also as much as you can eat whole fresh foods, and try to minimize any foods with pesticide residue, whether you go organic or you just, wash the food really well first. But that all helps with keeping our immune system strong. And as I said before, the gut does house 70% of our immune system. So it's very...
About washing the food, do you use a fruit and vegetable wash, or do you just use warm water?
I just use warm water. Yeah. And I wash it really well, depending on what it is. Like if it's something like celery and it's not organic, I'm going to wash it really well, because, the way it's all clumped together like that, the stuff can kind of get in there and stay.
Okay.
Yep. So in our gut, we have the bacteria that help us digest our food and basically help keep the digestive tract moving. So it's very important to make sure that that bacteria is healthy and not disrupted. And there's a lot of things that can disrupt it. Sickness, alcohol, stress, bad food that isn't nourishing you, that just kind of comes in and disrupts things. And that can be like processed foods, rancid oils, sugar. So those are all kinds of things that we want to keep in mind when making food choices that doesn't, it can do more than, make you gain weight or, give you an upset stomach. It can actually disrupt your gut bacteria to where food is not being absorbed.
So just because I know what it is, but for the listeners, describe what you mean by rancid oil.
Oh, well, any oils that, there are oils in everything, like vegetable oils are found in salad dressings. And you have to be careful with the type and the source of those oils, because a lot of times it'll be like a mix of, canola oil, corn oil. And if those oils are not stored properly and processed properly, like if they're exposed to the air, they're exposed to higher temperatures, they become rancid, and you really can't always taste the rancidity. But in the manufacturing process, they can become rancid, and they're found in a lot of things. A lot of baked goods, sauces, pre-made sauces.
And so what? It's rancid.
When it's rancid, it causes an inflammatory response when you eat it. So
it's actually toxic, isn't it?
It can be toxic. Yeah. I mean, it's at a low enough level that you're not going to get poisoned, but over time, those oils are really bad for your system.
So how do you know if you can't I always thought that if it was rancid, I'd be able to taste that it was rancid, but if you can't, how do you know?
What I recommend is avoiding processed packaged food that contains oils. And that does mean salad dressings. It does mean some tomato sauces, some pasta sauces. So either make your own. If you buy your olive oil in like small dark bottles, it's normally going to be okay. You don't want to buy like giant.
Yeah, see, I usually buy in jugs because I use so much of it.
Yeah, I would.
Oxidize as soon as you open it up.
What was that? Yeah, for sure.
Oxidize as soon as you open it up.
Yeah, and it's in those big clear plastic. They're exposed to light. They get hot. So I know it's more expensive, but it is good to buy the smaller batch glass box. Yeah.
We could do a whole session on rancid oils and nuts, and because nuts will do it too.
Right. We could do, yeah, exactly.
Now I tend to freeze nuts that I'm not going to use right away. Does that
help? Yep. That's what I do too.
Okay.
But there's a big problem, and this tends to be very gut disruptive, that all of your grocery store brand nuts are cooked and roasted in oil. And those are usually bad by the time you eat them. So
really?
Raw, right? So
yeah,
most, right. Grocery store, like the Planters, I don't want to call them out, but they've been sitting on there. They're cooked in peanut oil or sunflower oil. And you know what? If you open them up and take a good, you can smell it. You can smell that they've already started to putrefy.
And then if you have raw nuts that haven't putrefied, you'll notice how much better the flavor is too.
So what do you buy them raw and then roast them yourself?
You can, or you can just eat them.
You eat them raw?
Yeah. But nuts that you buy raw and you just toast like in a skillet, just, over, heat the skillet. You don't even have to put oil in it. You just have to keep stirring.
Right.
That really brings the flavor out. And, you haven't added any calories. You haven't added anything that's not healthy. You just basically brought the flavor of the nut out.
I found that the best place to source those is when you just go to your local health food store and their bulk section where they have the raw nuts there with, a lot of times they have like the oats and the rice and the other bulk goods. Those they go so fast and they're so fresh, and you'll be able to tell.
I'll give it a try.
So sorry to get off track, but so explain again these the effects of just now, since we're talking about rancid oil and nuts, how does that start to overload our immune system when we consume those kinds of food?
Because it's bringing in, I mean, it can be like the oils, they change, their chemical composition actually changes, and they can become something that you should never eat, like in tiny quantities. But when you eat them, your body's like, well, this shouldn't be here, you know, because your immune system wants to keep, your immune system's job is to keep non-self things out of your body. So, you know, food, I mean, obviously it digests real food, but when it encounters these substances in the oils, it's going to react like it's an invader. And when that happens in your stomach, you know, it can kill off the good bacteria. Bad bacteria can start to take hold, and you can just kind of go down a spiral of, you know, inflammation and infections that you don't really know why you're feeling this way, but you know, that's where it can all start.
Mm.
Yeah. So, so it's good to, you know, limit it as much as you can, and then just, you know, find other sources that don't have those rancid oils, or those oils in general, because they're not going to tell you they're rancid. Okay, so yeah, so we talked about you want foods that support the integrity of your digestive tract and also your respiratory system, which is really important now. And those are both, the airways in your digestive system are both supported by our B vitamins and vitamin C. Those are water soluble. And then vitamins A, D, and E, which are fat soluble vitamins. And minerals would be calcium, zinc, and iron. So we're just going to go through some foods that contain those vitamins and minerals that are good to eat to boost your immune system. So for our B vitamins, most nuts, any kind of organ meat, organ meats generally have all of the vitamins and minerals. So if you happen to be a person who likes liver, it's actually a very healthy food to eat. I would recommend getting it like from a, you know, a smaller farm, a grass-fed source if you can. But that's great that you like it, because that really helps your immune system.
Do you eat liver?
Do I eat liver?
Yes.
I do not eat liver. No, but it's so funny because it's like it's on every list of a good source of this vitamin, liver, organ meat.
Wow. And is that chicken liver, beef liver? I mean, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter
What animal it came?
Mm-mm.
Good.
No, I would just stick with, you know, again, just try to get the cleanest source possible. Yeah. So,
and I assume my breaded and fried chicken livers, which is my favorite way to eat them, is probably not the best way.
no, probably not. Probably not. No.
Oh well, I like them other ways.
Yeah. But even that, I mean, you know, there are probably ways you could even make that healthier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seafood.
And what are those? The air fryers?
Yeah, I've never tried that.
Maybe you could try that and circle back to us. Let us know.
Actually a good idea.
I'll have to buy one.
Yeah. So also things like, you know, dry beans and lentils, all of your leafy greens are a good source of folate, which is a B vitamin. For vitamin C, you want to try to eat the brightly colored vegetables and fruits like red and green peppers, again, leafy greens, citrus fruit, mangoes, berries. And brown rice is a good source of your B vitamins, and the fattier fish like halibut and salmon are also good sources for B vitamins.
And I'd like to just put a little interjection, because I've seen what's going on in the grocery stores right now, and the ice cream aisle is completely empty. Have you guys noticed that?
No.
Yes, I've helped with that.
Yeah, and I just want to remind people remind you that during this time, when we're locked in our houses, and I know we're eating a lot of comfort food, myself included, remember that the fruit aisle is still stocked. And the reason why, I know it sounds, but the reason why I say this is because what I found is there have been so many low carb trends and paleo trends that only allow you to have a little bit of sugar, and keto trends, is that people will skip the healthy vitamin and nutrient packed fruits because, oh, I'm trying, because in their mind, tomorrow they're going to start a diet. Right. Tomorrow they're going to stop eating. Tomorrow they're going to start keto. So they skip that, but then they still load up on the comfort foods, the cookies, the ice cream, the things like that. And go for the fruit. Just don't start the diet tomorrow. Eat the healthy stuff. Because I think that's what's happening. People are, well, I'm good. I'm just going to have, the ice cream but I'm not going to buy the fruit because I don't want to eat all of it. I'm going to start my diet tomorrow. And the truth is you just eat the ice cream. So, I want to remind people of that because, fruit is like the lost healthy food these days because we've gone through 15 years of different low carb diet phases that people forget that it's healthy for you.
It is. And it's good for your brain. Like the berries, all the darker berries actually support your mental health, which is important right now. Yeah. So the vitamins, the fat soluble vitamins, A, D, and E, those are also found in liver, of course. Yes. All of your dark leafy vegetables, butter, egg yolks, whole milk, peanuts and peanut butter. So you see there's a big variety of foods that provide support for your immune system, and they're all whole foods. And they're probably the foods you're going to see on most lists about telling you to eat healthy, not like a crazy, diet like Kelly mentioned, but, whole foods, fruits and vegetables, fatty fish, nuts, seeds, eggs are fine.
What's a fatty fish other than sardines and salmon?
Mackerel.
You said halibut?
Halibut, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, we're actually going to talk about seafood on the, I think, is it next, maybe 2 weeks from now, we're going to talk about seafood and how to avoid, how to make the healthiest choices for seafood.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But I'll just ask one quick question about that. How about the yellowfin tuna, the ahi? Is that a fatty fish? Is that a good fish?
It's a good one to eat, yes.
Okay,
not good. One of the fattier ones, but it is.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good one that's like the good side of the tuna spectrum, I think.
Yay.
Yeah. And then for our minerals, calcium is found in sardines, leafy greens, milk, olives, dried fruit, zinc, oysters, ginger root, Brazil nuts, pumpkin seeds, and iron obviously in beef, and then also in things like nuts, pumpkin seeds, Brazil nuts again, and seaweed is a good source of all of these minerals. So you can either cook with it, or those little seaweed snacks that they sell, not the ones with all the seasoning on them, but you can get the plain ones. Those are good snacks, and they're a good source of these minerals. So we talked about organic versus non-organic, and this will be on the slide when Kelly posts it, but the Environmental Working Group, EWG.org, posts a list of the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. The Dirty Dozen are the 12 produce items that are generally grown with the most pesticides. So if you have the option to buy those organic, that's kind of where you want to spend your money. And then the Clean 15 are the 15 produce items that are grown with the least amount of pesticides. And that's where you can it's fine to buy conventional. You can buy those anywhere.
And that's ewg.org.
Yeah, ewg.org. They will, like when you go to find these, they'll want your email address, and then they'll send you, they don't overdo sending you emails, but they'll send you a nice downloadable copy of this. And then you can also go to their site. Like they have information on anything you would want to buy as far as produce goes and where it falls in the spectrum of pesticide use. Their website actually has a ton of great information on it.
Good.
Yeah, cosmetics, everything. Like they kind of cover all their bases. So garlic is another good food to keep in mind when you want to support your immune system. It actually fights infection. And when you're preparing garlic, if you're gonna, cook with it or whatever, try to slice it, expose the inside part to air for about 10 minutes before you use it, because there's a compound in garlic called allicin, and that's the antimicrobial component. And it needs fresh air to activate. So that's the reason behind that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And leafy greens, they came up in pretty much everything as far as, good food sources of the vitamins and minerals.
What are there any leafy greens that aren't? Like, are all lettuces?
No, I mean,
nutrient.
Normally, the darker the green gets, the more nutritious it gets. That's kind of a rule of thumb. So
like Tupac said, the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice.
Exactly. Yeah, I did quote Tupac like in a later slide. You're so funny. But yes, the darker the vegetable and the darker the green, the more, the higher the nutritional value. So like, at the one end we have iceberg lettuce, which really, it's a neutral food. It's not bad, but it's not necessarily good. And then like romaine, and then, spinach is better. And, like the darker cabbages, arugula, and
Kale.
hard kale. Yes. But there's so many leafy greens. Like, kale can be really bitter, so you don't have to eat kale to be healthy. But, like bok choy, Swiss chard, those have a little milder flavor than kale. And it's good when you eat leafy greens to saute them, or if you're going to cook them in like olive oil or coconut oil.
That's what I usually do.
Mm-hmm. It makes them taste better, and also it helps you absorb those fat soluble vitamins, the A, E, and K, or A, D, and E. I'm sorry, that we talked about before. And they also, there's a lot of studies that support that leafy greens will help fight off cancers and keep your digestive system moving. So the carotenoids are like your vitamin A foods, and that's, carrots, peppers, anything with that dark orange or, dark purple color, sweet potatoes, tomatoes, pumpkin, butternut squash. Those are all good sources of vitamin A. They have the carotenoids in them, which are actually precursors to vitamin A formation. And they help, not only vitamin A is important for your eyesight, but also helps protect against cancer and heart disease as well. So we covered the oils a little bit. So in general, olive oil is a good choice, and coconut oil also is a pretty safe choice. Coconut oil can actually be a little bit easier to digest because its composition is such that it doesn't have to go through the gallbladder to be digested. So if you have any gallbladder issues or, just trouble digesting fat, coconut oil is generally a good choice in moderation. Ginger is another good food to help with your immune system. You can make ginger tea. You can just like scrape off that, the rind that kind of looks like bark, chop it up, boil it in water. Ginger tea, if you just buy the pre-made ginger tea bags, those are great too. And you can just, saute it. You can add it to like, vegetables and things. It's great for your digestion, and helps protects against viruses. And that's
Oh, okay.
right now. Yes.
Show
And we
me
are.
the ginger.
Hmm?
Show me the ginger.
And then seeds and nuts, we already kind of talked about, buying raw, and that you can just toast them for a little bit of flavor. Pumpkin seeds, raw pumpkin seeds are high in zinc.
Good source of protein.
Yes, they are.
Hmm.
Yeah, pumpkin seeds are really good if you're vegetarian or if you limit meat, because it's hard to get zinc if you don't, eat a lot of animal food sources. Sesame seeds are also really good and very good toasted. They're high in protein as well.
So little.
And cultured foods like yogurt and kefir can really help your gut bacteria. So that in turn helps your immune system. It's just very important to not buy the ones that are pre-sweetened, like because the little yogurt cups can have
The
like
fruit on the bottom things and
Yeah.
that kind
like Yoplait, they can have like 18 grams of sugar in just that little tiny container.
When
So
you're thinking about cultured foods, and we've talked about, things like sauerkraut and fermented foods, how long would someone have to start incorporating these into their diet before they start getting a benefit? Like, and how frequently?
it can be pretty quick.
Really?
Honestly. Yeah, I mean, it depends on where they're starting.
Okay.
But yeah, and actually you might want to introduce fermented foods gradually, because there are certain like yogurt and kefir are normally pretty safe if you don't have a problem with dairy in general. But like if you make your own sauerkraut or kimchi or something like that, that can kind of shock your system.
Come in and like karate chop all the bad bacteria, and then you're like, ah!
You spend the day in the bathroom. Yeah.
That's what I mean by the ah!
Yeah, so you need to be careful with that. But actually the in kefir are easier. Like if someone is lactose intolerant, usually they have a little bit of an easier time with the yogurt and the kefir because of the good bacteria, and because of the fermentation just gets rid of some of the sugars that upset people.
Is there a difference between like regular yogurt and the Greek yogurt other than the texture? I mean, is there a benefit to one or the other?
Not really. The Greek yogurt, they just they drain off the whey so that it's left with the thicker consistency.
And I like that because it's creamier. But
yeah, well, and I think it's easier to use Greek yogurt as a substitute for like sour cream or in baking or something.
Yeah.
Well, also, if from a probiotic standpoint, there's no different, but there is a difference in the if you're trying to add yogurt as a protein source, Greek yogurt is significantly higher in protein.
Oh, okay.
Because it's concentrated.
Good.
Yeah.
That's how I get my fruit, because other than bananas, I really don't like fruit other than in pies and daiquiris and
Okay.
or mixed in Greek yogurt. So that's how I usually eat it. But,
You'll put your own fruit in though, right?
yeah, I buy the fresh fruit from the store, from the farmer's market.
Because we talk a lot about yogurt, being careful just to buy the plain, because they add so much sugar and even just the vanilla is
right. No, I just buy the Faye 0% fat Greek yogurt, and then I put berries in it and a little drizzle of honey.
Nice. She's doing it right.
Yep.
Okay, good. That's good to hear.
And then I also just wanted to mention meat and trying to cover all the food groups, that it is important to get enough protein to have a healthy immune system. So, if you do eat meat, you want to try to get meat that is from as clean a source as possible. Avoid anything that's been cured with like nitrates, because those are harmful chemicals that are harmful to the body. And avoid anything that's, don't cook it to a crisp. You want to not get those carcinogens, from grilling and burning things, or not burning things, but cooking things too well is not a good idea. And the last thing, which we have a whole series of presentations on it, but you want to try to avoid sugar as much as possible, because sugar can actually have an antibiotic effect in your gut, and it can by itself destroy the good bacteria. So it can lead to a whole host of problems that mess up your digestive system, which means you're not absorbing the nutrients that you're eating. It makes your body do too much work for zero benefit. So, that's kind of the opposite of supporting the immune system. You're tiring your body out, so it doesn't have the energy to, to take care of itself. And there are a lot of other bad things in sugar, but like I said, that could take forever. So,
we have a whole series dedicated to it.
Right. That's Thursday.
And there's still more. I mean, it's a big topic. So, so that actually was everything we had. I think we kind of went over a little bit, but do you have any questions or anything, Jean?
I think I probably pretty much asked them all. I mean, it was nice to hear that a lot of the things that I really like lentils and liver and greens and that, are good things. So it's like, okay, I can think in terms of a healthy immune system and not have to think in terms of, oh God, how am I going to make that so I like it?
Right, exactly. Well, that's the thing. And there are so many, you don't have to eat things you don't like to be healthy, because there's just so many things out there. And,
that's one of the things I like about you, Cara, as a nutritionist. That's something I hear you say a lot. And it's such a great reminder that people don't have to force themselves to eat things they don't like. Right. Because we have such a variety.
Exactly. And, there's no one, the diet that works for you is the diet that works for you. There's not, it's not going to work for everybody else. And I don't even mean diet. I mean the food,
what you eat,
your food choices. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what makes somebody else feel healthy might not make you feel good. So you just choose something else.
Well, thank you, Cara. Some of my big takeaways from today are the reminders to look for oils in packaged foods. And that's something that, I have to really think about my tortilla chip habit. I know every now and then it's okay, but you know what? I eat a lot of chips. That's like my...
Right. And that,
they feel healthy because you're like, oh, it's just corn, oil, salt. And, if I have the calories to expend, but so that's something to really remember, and remember that, there's other alternatives than chips, and really looking at salad dressings as well. So I really appreciated those reminders. And then really good tip. I didn't know this about the garlic. I have been eating more garlic. And as long as my husband and I eat it at the same time, we can't tell, because you don't know if I'm smelling you or smelling me. So we have come to a good point on that. But slicing it, I didn't know that. Is that slicing it? What if I'm roasting it? Does that not matter, or can just slice it, roast it?
Let it be exposed to air before you roast it. Yeah,
okay. Good to know. Those little tips like this that are just so great. And I'm good.
Thank you very much.
Well, good. I am going to go ahead and end it here.